All right, welcome everybody to today's live webinar, Just Right Application Delivery for Education. So before I get started, just some quick housekeeping and introductions. On the call today is myself, Paul Anderson, Senior Director of Marketing for Array Networks. I'll be doing hosting the majority of today's webinar. Also on the call with me today is Abhishek Gupta, our Senior Corporate Systems Engineer. Be on the call, primarily looking at some of the questions. We're going to have a Q&A session at the end, so some of you may have questions with respect to the product, the technical capabilities, things of that nature. Abhi's here, and we should be able to field most of those questions. With respect to the Q&A and to questions, what we're going to do is, we have both the Q&A window in the WebEx platform as well as the chat window. Go ahead and as we go through the presentation, if you have any questions, whether they be questions on business-related questions, product, technology, solution, anything with respect to education applications in particular, anything that comes up along the way, just go ahead and enter those questions into the Q&A window or the chat window. And like I said, as we get to the end, we should have some time and we should be able to field all those questions. So today's topic, just a quick rundown of what we'll be covering today. I'll do, some of you are, I can see from some of the registrants and attendees that some of you are familiar with Array Networks already, but there are some new people that I don't believe that we've reached out to, so I want to, give some background on Array Networks and build some awareness there, but then hop right into, what is the need for application delivery and security in education? What are some of those challenges, some of those requirements out there? And then go into providing an introduction to the products and solutions that we use to help solve some of those challenges. Primarily our application delivery controller or our load balancing product, as well as our SSL VPN and secure access product lines. We do have a particular strength in education. It's one of the reasons why we're doing this webinar today. And we have some case studies that I think highlight some of the different things that we can do and how we can help education. So I want to focus there on some of those real-world examples of how we're helping educational organizations. And from there, there are some unique solutions that Array has that I think lend themselves particularly well to educational organizations, and I just want to touch on those because I think they may provide some value to you. And then to wrap things up, providing kind of next steps. Resources, we have a lot of resources, so you're going to get some information on this webinar, but it's not all the information. We got a lot of information around particular customer use cases, particular applications, products, things like that, so we want to kind of make you aware of those resources, show you where to go to get started, and then of course, as I mentioned, dig into the Q&A portion and answer any questions that you might have. But before I get going, I really actually, when we started out this thing, I did want to have, we have a great new customer in Binghamton University, and I was hoping that Tony Poole, who's a great champion of ours, I was hoping he was going to be able to join us today and say a few words regarding his use of our load balancing and application delivery controller products. Primarily to provide high availability, improved performance and security. He's using it for Banner and Blackboard, but there are some other applications on the horizon. So I was hoping to have him come in and say a few words himself, but scheduling and whatnot didn't permit that. But as luck would have it, on Tuesday, so just 2 days ago on the 14th, he actually wrote a really good article himself. Which basically, it goes into really good detail on what his challenges were, why he selected Array Networks, the products he selected, the applications he's running, how we helped to optimize those applications. So it's written in his words. I think it's a really good article, and I would encourage, it's on our website, so you can find it there, but you can also find it by just Googling baseline Binghamton load balancing. And it's a good read, and it's almost as good as listening to him kind of tell that story in his own words. So it's kind of good timing there, and I would encourage people to go out and take a look at it. So a bit about Array Networks. Array's been around for a good period of time. At this point, just over 15 years. We were founded in 2000, and we're headquartered here in Milpitas in Silicon Valley. Just over 250 employees, but we are a global company. So for those that are tuning in from other regions beyond North America, whether that be Europe or even some of our emerging markets and things like that, whether that be India, Japan, different places. We have a global presence, and we have strong presence in North America, in Europe, as well as a strong presence in countries such as Japan, China, India, and others as well. So 250 strong with a good global presence. It should be relatively clear from some of the topics that we're going to cover today, including our ADCs and our SSL VPNs, that we fall squarely in that market of application delivery and security. And some of the products that are in our product portfolio, we are going to focus and emphasize the application delivery controller and the load balancing, as well as the SSL VPN and secure access gateway products. However, we've been doing the ADC product and the SSL VPN product the longest. So for most of our 15 years, we've been doing the load balancing and application delivery controller product. We were actually pioneers in that market and the first to really do what we call integrated traffic management, where you have a load balancing product that integrates SSL acceleration, caching, compression, web application security, content rewrite, manipulation, all those things, rolling that into one product, whereas others had been using separate appliances for that purpose. So we were really an innovator there, and we've been doing that ever since. But since then, we've been meeting other requirements, as our customers have been asking more and more from us in terms of supporting their applications, introducing the SSL VPN in order to provide secure access to applications anytime, anywhere, WAN optimization controller or WAN optimization products, where there's a need not only for data center acceleration, but also the need to accelerate the performance of applications over the internet, over wide area networks, et cetera. And then more recently, with increasing requirements and demands for application-level security, we've introduced our web application firewall product. So at this point, having a very strong portfolio of application delivery and security products. As far as segments are concerned, we do have, like I was saying, strength in education, but as well as state and local government, federal government, the traditional enterprise organizations such as financial services, healthcare, very strong there. And then also lately with the rise of cloud and cloud services, we've really been moving strongly into that as well, not only providing our products to infrastructure as a service provider, who are then turning those into, say, load balancing as a service, SSL VPN as a service, WAN as a service, things like that, but also selling our product to cloud service providers, software as a service providers who really need to scale their applications to serve the needs of up to millions of users. So those are some of the segments that we work in that we have particular strength in, as well as a strong technology portfolio and a strong base of customers around the world. So you can see here at the bottom some logos. I tried to mix in some of the key education customers, for example, some that you might see here: Norwich University, LACCD, LA County Community School District, Binghamton University, NYU Poly. There are many others, but as well as mixing in a few examples of some of the service provider, enterprise, and other customers that we have. So diving into application delivery and security for education, the bottom line is to meet the needs of, and it doesn't matter whether it's meeting applications that serve the needs of students or whether it's applications that are meeting the needs of the faculty and the staff. Education applications are, have this in common with many other applications. They need to have that high availability. They, always on, right? And especially in education. I'll touch on it on the next slide, but they need to be available. A lot of people are depending on it. Students are depending on it. You need to have that fast user experience so that you don't get frustrated with it, and it doesn't get utilized to the degree that that merits the investment that you put into these applications and technology. Of course, security. There's a lot of personal information, student information, school records, things like that. It's got to be secure. And then, in today's kind of mobile connected environment, you need to be able to provide that anytime, anywhere access securely. And here you can kind of see a sampling of some of those applications, and I mentioned a few with respect to Binghamton, the Blackboard, the Banner, but there are many others. A lot of education institutions relying on Oracle PeopleSoft, relying on SAP, Microsoft applications, as well as moving some applications into the cloud, whether that be Amazon or Azure. So, Whether you're looking at applications that are supporting enrollment or payments or allowing collaboration between students and the educators, or you're trying to enable a program with remote e-learning, you're going to need access. Or you have business applications that are running the back end with respect to running education as a business. All those applications need these attributes as well. And here's just a few examples, and I touched on it briefly, but these applications need to be fast. Why? Hey, the students that are using the learning management system applications, they shouldn't lose work, or they shouldn't become frustrated with the learning experience. Available business apps that serve the staff and faculty that are essential to the institution operations. You really can't afford outages on those, just like any other business. Security, the servers and apps must be secure for storing information such as student records, exam papers, many other examples there. And access, which I touched on, the students and the faculty on the go, need to be able to access resources anytime, anywhere. And to give you a sense of how our products and solutions map to that, I created a little graphic here, and you can see the APV series, which is our load balancing and application delivery controller product, has all those built-in integrated acceleration technologies, which accelerates the performance and optimizes the performance of applications, giving you that better end-user experience. It is a load balancer, whether it be server load balancing, global server load balancing, link load balancing, layer 2 load balancing. It's giving you that high availability that's keeping those applications up and running 24/7. And then security, whether that be things like the web application security built in or the SSL encryption and SSL acceleration built in. It's also, being that first point of termination for connections to applications, taking a look at that traffic and making sure that that's legitimate traffic before anything gets passed on to servers in the back end, so providing that first line of defense. With respect to the AG series, which is what we call our SSL VPN product line, you can see how that clearly aligns with security and access. So whether you want to provide things such as layer 7, web proxy, web-based remote access, or you want to provide, RDP or thin client-based access, or layer 3 network level connectivity, this product does it all, and you can combine those any way you want to achieve the security posture that you're after. Obviously, being an SSL VPN with advanced access control, AAA, encryption, endpoint security, web application security built in, it absolutely adds and also kind of overlaps, and it is also providing a lot of security elements within education environments. So giving you a picture of how these two core products map to these requirements for education applications. And shifting gears kind of into taking a closer look at the product, one of the things that I want to emphasize, and one of the things that I think makes Array Networks unique, is really our ability to support the full gamut of different sizes and types of organizations. And it doesn't matter whether you need app delivery or secure access or whatever product or solution we have. If you need that at the high end, you have a very large user community, very large student body, or lots of research arms, and it's a very big operation. We have products that can handle that load, that can handle that amount of users, that amount of traffic. But you're more of maybe you're a medium-sized organization, or small. We have solutions that are cost-effective, high. Very good price performance solutions across this full range. You can see even at that bottom, a small organization can very easily deploy the software-based virtual appliances on a server very cost effectively and get all these features, functions, benefits, and solutions. You can run that on a server that's in your data center, in a private cloud, or you can run that software in a public cloud, whether that be Amazon, Azure, VMware, vCloud, Air, others. We have a very strong relationship with SoftLayer, where they use our products to offer infrastructure as a service. So it really doesn't matter the size or the nature, the type of your organization. We've got hardware, we've got software, we've got entry level, we've got high end, and we provide value, cost efficiency, price performance across that full range, probably better than anybody else does. So that's kind of looking at the product and the platform perspective. This right here is giving you a sense for how robust the features and the capabilities are. It's kind of an eye chart here. Everybody's going to be getting this presentation after the webinar, so you can take a closer look or you can go back and review it. But whether we're talking about those acceleration technologies and features, or features and capabilities around high availability, or security, or access, it's very robust feature set that can go head-to-head and or exceed the capabilities of some of the alternatives and some of the competition on the market. So, from a product platform and scalability and flexibility, but also from a feature capability perspective, these areas of acceleration, availability, security, access, very robust, very capable products. So from there, that's a good background on the company. What is the challenges and the requirements for supporting applications in an education environment, as well as a look at two of our core key product lines. Wanted to hop into 4 case studies, which I think do a great job of illustrating, how we've been able to help education organizations, and each one has something a little bit unique to it. So not just hitting on the same thing, choosing a few examples here that illustrate how we've been able to help some of these organizations and what we're able to do. So for example, Binghamton will focus on Banner and Blackboard. Oracle University, and one of the things I wanted to stop and talk about here is we talk about education. Many times your mind gravitates to universities, colleges, K through 12, things like that. But one of the things that we've really found is that many enterprises actually have a very comprehensive education arm of their opportunities that's out there educating people on their products and services, getting them trained and things like that. Oracle University is a perfect example of that. They have a very big education operation that's dedicated to building awareness and getting people trained up and effective on their products and solutions. So education is not just that traditional education that we all think about. It's also education with respect to within the enterprise and teaching people about products and solutions. So we wanted to touch on that. The LACCD is, there we're focusing on Oracle PeopleSoft, although they do run other things, SAP and some other Microsoft applications, things like that. But the interesting point to make is that, you have that, those student-focused applications such as perhaps the Banners, the Blackboards, the Moodles and things like that. But, just like any other organization, universities, colleges, education, they have to run the business, and they have a lot of run the business applications. And Array Networks is a great fit for providing availability, security, performance for those as well. And then one of the particular strengths of Array is our ability to do remote desktop and access to VDI and things of this nature better than anybody else, and I wanted to touch on that. So Binghamton University, as I mentioned, here, and this is the one. I'm going to touch on here on this slide, but we have a lot of articles, a lot of collaterals, case studies, press releases, things like that. Just like the article that just hit 2 days ago. So I'd encourage you to kind of go out and look at that. That's going to give you a lot more detail on Binghamton University. But the bottom line is, these guys needed 24/7, 365 availability for the key applications. And the first ones that we worked on them with were Banner and Blackboard, and providing that to faculty, students, and staff. And they did. They went out and explored their options, and you're going to see on our website, we talk a lot about, a just right ADC or just right solutions for education. And where that really stems from was working with Tony. He evaluated some different ADC products. He looked at some very high-end, very costly, very complex solutions. He explored some, some more cost-effective solutions. And comparing all this, he found that Array Networks really gave that, he called it the Goldilocks solution, because it really had that just right combination of the platform, the reliability, the performance, the scalability of the platform itself, the features that we have, but the features implemented in a way that keeps things simple and doesn't overcomplicate things, and then also the price that we bring to the table. So he found some solutions fell short. They were cost effective, but they didn't meet his needs. They weren't kind of up to the task of what he needed today and into the future. You look at some other solutions that, hey, granted, they're very scalable, very feature-rich, perhaps even too feature-rich, too complex, but also came with a very high price tag and just found it's a great product, but it's not the right fit for him and his organization. So he found the Array Networks was that just right ADC for his solution, and that's where that came from. What they ended up with was high availability pairs of our APV 2600 ADCs deployed supporting these applications, the Banner and the Blackboard, and we were able to give him that 24/7 service availability and at half the cost of similar solutions. So now the faculty, students, staff have access to these essential applications with no downtime, and we delivered a strong feature set and a great product at about half the price of competing similar solutions. The LA Community College District is similar to a degree in that we're using our ADCs, our APV Application Delivery Controller, to provide high availability security performance for applications. But in this case, a slightly different set of applications. Here you're looking at not just applications designed for students, but also applications designed for staff and also for run-the-business type applications. And here providing 24/7 availability, security, accelerated performance for things like PeopleSoft, SAP, even providing high availability for Microsoft ADFS, which they're using to provide authentication for applications that they're running in a lot of different places, including the cloud. So a little bit different flavor here on providing high availability for education applications. In this case, they decided to run a high availability cluster of a little bit more robust demands than the example in the Binghamton University. LA County Community College District is a pretty sizable operation, and they went with a set of products, the APV 3600s, which are a little bit more powerful than the 2600s I mentioned in the Binghamton example. And in this case, supporting the Oracle, PeopleSoft, SAP, Microsoft, and others, optimized application performance. And one of the things here, the Oracle, PeopleSoft, and later on when Avi speaks, he can talk a little bit more about how complex some of these things can get. And in this case, we were really able to come in and bring some of our professional services and some of our expertise in deploying PeopleSoft, SAP, and others, and really providing that extra added value beyond the product that was able to get LACCD up and running and get them to be successful. So we optimized application performance for large-scale multi-data center deployments with Array Professional Services for timely and seamless rollout of application services. So great case study there for us. Norwich University switches gears a little bit. In this case, we're talking about now secure access. So just a little bit about Norwich. And again, this is another one. We've got some great materials on it. If you go to our website or you Google Norwich and Array Networks and things like that, we've got some great articles from Mike Stevenson, who works over there and runs their department, and he's said a lot of great things about Array Networks. It's the nation's oldest private military college, and really where we deployed this was in their Center for Advanced Computing and Digital Forensics. And one of the things, what they did, and this goes back to our strength that we have in providing secure access over RDP or to remote desktops, to virtual desktops, things like this. And the setup that they've enabled for their students, each one is set up in a virtualized environment. And they really needed the best solution that provided the most secure but the most seamless possible method so that the students didn't have to waste a lot of time trying to come up to speed on how to use this. They want the students to be able to seamlessly log in and have access to the virtual environments that they've set up for them to learn about digital forensics, advanced computing, things of that nature. So they needed remote access, providing remote access to a virtualized environment, to back-end virtualized student lab environments. And what they had before they had Array was a complex end-user experience of existing VPN solutions, and it really impacted the usability for students and faculty. And so what we deployed was what we call, it's a product of ours called Array Networks Desktop Direct, and it is the product that really provides the seamlessness, not only from the user experience, but also from the perspective of seamless deployment and management of the solution. It's really head and shoulders above other solutions on the market. This is the one that we demonstrated for them, and with this in place now, they have that seamless high-performance RDP over SSL. It's providing simplified and reliable access to those virtualized lab environments, and I would encourage you to read some of those articles and case studies around this if that's something similar to a need that you may have. And finally here is that example of using secure access or the need for these application delivery and security solutions, not just in the traditional education environment, but how they can be effective and help you be successful in enterprise learning environments and educational environments. So Oracle University is probably our best example of this. I know it's our largest example of this. Everybody knows Oracle, $150 billion multinational technology provider. But they've got a lot of employees, but they also have a lot of people that have bought their products that need to be trained on it and need to receive that education. So, this is an example of where I showed the chart of our products scaling from the small to the medium to the large. This is an example of secure access on that large scale, using one of our high-end AG appliances that can support, up to 100,000 concurrent users, which is ridiculous. But what that allows us to do is that, even if you're running 10,000, 20,000 concurrent users, it allows us that each one of those can get sufficient bandwidth and performance so that you get a good end user experience regardless of the application that you're accessing. And so what they really needed as this large organization, they needed scalable, cost-effective remote access. So needed an enterprise-class secure access solution to support the remote e-learning requirements of Oracle University. And really what they found, other SSL VPN solutions either lacked the performance and the scalability, or there was one other vendor that could get close to the performance and scalability that Array is able to bring to the table, but the price tag associated with that was prohibitive. So Array really checked all the boxes from the features, scalability, performance, reliability, and also cost effectiveness. So it was the right solution. And that's what we ended up selling them, the Array Networks AG series SSL VPN, the high-end model of that. And we've been supporting this for quite a while. This is a proven solution. So thousands of training sessions on a daily basis for well over 10 years at this point. We have obviously had a hardware refresh, somewhere around halfway through that, getting them onto our next generation platforms, but seamless transition to those new platforms and right back to supporting their employees and their end user customers and their education requirements. So hopefully that, those 4 case studies there give you a taste for some proven solutions out there, but also some of the different ways that we can help support education requirements. So from that, I'll kind of shift gears, and this is kind of the last major block here, is just highlighting what I consider or what I think based on some of the customers I talked to, what I think are some of the unique solutions that Array has working with some of our ecosystem partners that I believe might be of interest and might be useful in the education environment. And some of those are obviously Microsoft, so I'll touch on that a little bit just because we find that it's ubiquitous and many organizations are relying on Microsoft applications, and I really want to emphasize that, what we can do for that. Dell, we have an interesting alliance there with Dell SonicWall, especially with respect to their Supermassive or their next generation firewall, and I want to touch on that solution because I think it has a unique what we're seeing is some of the customers that are hitting us up for this solution do fall into the education vertical, and I want to kind of touch on why that is. App delivery for hyperconverged infrastructure. Nutanix is another key partner that we're pulling together a solution for, and in talking to the guys over there, there's a lot of adoption and pickup of Nutanix within the education environment due to some of the simplicity and scalability that it brings to the table. And then finally, I want to talk about a new solution from Array Networks that we're calling our Array AVX, which is our Array virtualized appliance. And I want to touch on how that unique product can bring value in the education environment. And this is another one that I think Avi I'll have also provide some insights onto this as well. He just spent a week down at LACCD and came back with some good nuggets on how some of these solutions can be deployed and provide value in the education environment. So for Microsoft, relatively straightforward, but I wanted to talk about more than just, a lot of times we just talk about Microsoft Exchange and things like this, but if you go to our website, you're really going to find that we support a tremendous range of Microsoft applications and solutions, whether that be Exchange, SharePoint, Lync, Skype for Business, TMG, the AD-RMS, the rights management, the ADFS, the federated services, more here. I'll let Avi touch on this as well. But we have one of the important things is to go and to work with these software vendors to get yourself certified, to get yourself validated, to prove it in the lab, prove it in the customer environment, create those deployment guides, and then streamline and simplify management for these applications so that they're really proven, really easy to deploy, and we've gone ahead and we've done that for the full range of Microsoft applications. And the benefits are, consistent with what we've been talking about, 24/7 application uptime, really improving the performance of these applications, and also providing that first line of defense, terminating these connections, looking at this traffic, and only passing on those legitimate requests to the back-end Microsoft servers. So if you're running your Microsoft in your organization, whether that be on-prem, whether that be in Azure or in a cloud somewhere, we have solutions that can go anywhere and can support this full range of applications. As far as the Dell SonicWall solutions, one of the things that they're doing is that in education and architecture, a lot of times traffic from satellite schools or satellite districts get funneled back in through a central data center or a central hub before it goes out to the internet. And what a lot of these institutions want to do is they want to be able to inspect all that activity, all that traffic, all the applications being accessed by students, staff, etc., in order to make sure that that they're using it for the appropriate purposes and so on. So what Dell has been finding is that a lot of these supermassive next generation firewalls have been deployed, are being deployed in that centralized hub where a lot of the outbound traffic from the school districts, the satellite schools, et cetera, are going through that hub. And what they're finding is that the Dell SonicWall product is a great product. It's exactly what they need to look at that traffic, to control that traffic. But their needs are such, the traffic load is such that they need to be able to scale it. And so what's required is a load balancer to front-end that solution. And we've worked and we've launched together with Dell SonicWall a firewall load balancing solution that helps to scale, cost-effectively scale this next-generation firewall solution for these education environments where there's a lot of outbound traffic that needs to be looked at. So I know for sure in talking to the Dell guys that this is something they're seeing that in education. Kind of wanted to point that out because I do think, we have that tight integration, the validation, it's tested, it's proven. This is something that we can do for enterprise organizations, for education organizations. Moving on to Nutanix, again, for those of you that, I think a lot of people are becoming familiar with Nutanix. For those that aren't, the basic premise is that Nutanix is applying web scale principles, cloud principles, and they're collapsing the storage tier, the server tier, and management elements, and they're collapsing that into a single unit, single platform that can be, you can just stack them like Lego blocks. So you have application workloads. Doesn't really matter what those application workloads are. Rather than having to go out and get a very costly and complex, server, storage, connect it, manage it, hook it up, you simply buy a Nutanix platform, you load the workload onto that, and as your needs grow, you just simply stack these Nutanix platforms to support your users and your application workloads. And a lot of work has gone into streamlining the front end and the management of that. So there's a lot of stuff is automated in the back end in terms of spinning up the right amount of storage specific to a particular workload and things like this. So it's about convergence. It's about collapsing a lot of things into one box. Obviously from simplicity, rack space, power, cooling, all that stuff, all that great stuff, but also from the ease of scalability, cost effectiveness, things like that. So one of the things that we've done, we're a Nutanix certified, Nutanix ready partner for networking and security. We're a Nutanix Partner Network, certified Elevate Build partner. And what we've done is that you can take any of our products, any of our software virtual products, and you can run those on the Nutanix platform. So, applications are applications. They still need the high availability, performance, security, all those things. But instead of having to deploy a load balancer and a physical appliance, people that are deploying Nutanix are trying to get away from that to a degree. So now you can still have the one appliance, the Nutanix platform, collapse server, storage, management, but now you can also collapse into that the networking and security functions you need, such as the secure access, the load balancing, the app delivery, the acceleration. Just run those as workloads on the Nutanix platform, and you have a very powerful solution, very cost-effective, and very easy to run. And for those reasons, it's getting some good pickup in the education market. And finally, this is another, a lead into this array virtualized appliance. I talked a little bit about Nutanix. There are some cases where, people still need these networking and security functions, but, the volume of traffic or demands of that traffic is still significant enough to where it does need to run in hardware to give the performance needed. And in those cases, instead of deploying a traditional standalone SSL VPN or standalone load balancer, standalone WAN optimization, what we're doing now is we're creating this platform called the Array Virtualized Appliance. It's a hardware appliance, but it's been virtualized. And on this appliance, you can run Array's virtual load balancer, Array's virtual SSL VPN, Array's virtual web application firewall, et cetera. And the vision really is not just virtual editions of Array product, but also third-party networking and security functions as well could potentially be run on this platform. So some of the attributes of this is that if you look at the top half of this diagram here, you can see that this platform brings with it, it's kind of the best of both worlds. It brings with it the agility of cloud and virtualization, those things that you like about software and cloud and virtual, such as flexible size options. So of the virtual machines that are running on this appliance, you can select to have a greater number of smaller VMs, or you can have a fewer number of larger VMs, and you can mix and match them to meet the application workloads and things of that nature. So flexible size options. Multiple network functions, as I talked about. You can do ADC, you can do WAF, you can do SSL VPN, you can do other functions in the future. So it's a platform. You're going to be able to load a lot of different functions on it as you need it. Pay-as-you-go capacity, so that's on demand. That's just something that people really like about cloud is that you buy in proportion to your requirements. So this is a hardware platform, but you're not required to buy the whole platform all at once. You can buy it in quarter capacity increments, as your needs and as your requirements grow. And lastly here, and I'll touch on it briefly, we've got a lot of white papers and things that gives more information on it, but automation and management integration is becoming more important, and so where you want to begin to bring these networking and security functions under the purview of a cloud management platform or some other form of orchestration and automation, Array Networks has integrations with things like VMware, vRealize Orchestrator, Microsoft System Center Configuration Manager, OpenStack Load Balancing as a Service, and others, including a very robust API that we have that allows for integration and automation. So you can see there that the product is actually very unique in that it brings together those aspects of cloud and virtualization that everybody loves. The thing that's unique to this platform and unique to Array is we're able to do all that while keeping the performance of dedicated appliances. So what we've done is for each virtual machine, we've allocated dedicated CPU, dedicated SSL, dedicated memory, dedicated interfaces, so that you know exactly the performance you're going to get out of each and every one of those virtual machines. And because we've dedicated resources for hypervisor management, we've been able to eliminate that VM contention. So you can load multiple applications on here, multiple customers on here, and you can be assured that the performance that application or customer has either purchased or requires, they're always going to get that. These different virtual machines, these different networking functions are not going to compete with each other, and you're not going to see that performance go down. That's something that even though some of our competitors and some of the alternatives out there can support multiple instances of a given function on one platform, we find that it comes at a cost as they begin to compete with each other. And in some cases, best effort's good enough. In some cases, best effort is definitely not good enough. And this appliance is kind of gives you that best of both worlds. So I'll begin to wrap up here. I hope, hopefully we've seen a lot of good reasons along the way, why these customers and education customers in particular have chosen Array Networks. But, just from a higher level, these are some of those reasons why, just in general, customers across the board are choosing Array Networks. A lot of it comes down to advantages that we have in Layer 7 and also as well as Layer 7 SSL performance. So, whether that's a virtual appliance that are tuned for maximum performance, because obviously, virtual, the benefit is agility. Sometimes it comes at a cost of performance. we tune our products, to really give that maximum performance in a virtual environment, or physical appliances that maintain performance with advanced features enabled. There are some competitors, some alternatives out there that they look like they have some decent specs or maybe even competitive specs to us, and we find that as they try to turn on some of these advanced features, those performance specs take a nosedive. It's not the case with our products. We maintain those specifications, that high level of performance, even as you turn on, some of those features that we talked about earlier in the presentation. Simplified management, this goes back to what Tony Poole told us at Binghamton, which is that not only do we have, a very robust feature set, but the way that we implement it, whether you're talking about the CLI or the web UI, we implement it in a way that's a lot simpler and a lot more straightforward, and which is a lot better fit for an organization that may not have a team dedicated to load balancers, right? If that's the case, yeah, you can get, that person can get down and figure out all the dials and knobs and everything else. When you have an organization that's got to, be responsible for many different IT solutions and things like this, you really need to have products that are user-friendly and simplified, and that's something that we bring to the table. Reduced vulnerability, so, Heartbleed, Shell Shock, Ghost, Bash, a number of these SSL-related vulnerabilities that have popped up over the last 18 months, maybe even 2 years. You guys have probably heard about a lot of this, and a lot of our competition has been impacted by this, and a lot of these customers have had to go back and patch, remediate, things of this nature to address those vulnerabilities. Array networks, we don't use OpenSSL, which is what a lot of other people do. We actually created our own SSL implementation. We did that not only so that we could get a higher level of performance, but we also did it so that we have a proprietary SSL implementation that's not open and it doesn't suffer from these vulnerabilities. And so all those vulnerabilities that I mentioned, we were not vulnerable to any of those. None of our customers had to go back and patch or do anything. So we were 100% immune to a lot of those SSL vulnerabilities that you've been hearing about. And that's just the SSL component. I mean, we've taken a look at our OS and our platform and security hardened those as well. So for reduced vulnerability and security, we really think we have an advantage there. Scalable and future-proof, another great reason. I talked about this earlier. It doesn't matter whether you're small, medium, or large. We have scalable platforms for that. But, hey, I'm going to the cloud. I'm moving to the cloud. I'm moving to a public cloud. I want to go on software in a virtual environment. We're scalable and we're future-proof. We can go into any of those environments, and it doesn't matter how big you grow. We have a product that can keep up with you. And the products all share the same operating system, the same interfaces, everything. You're not moving from one OS to a different OS to get more scalability. You can literally take one box, pull it out, put it in another box that's more scalable, plug it back in, and with nothing else, you're back in business with a lot more capacity, something very unique that we bring to the table. And then lastly, you're getting all this, but you're getting it at a tremendous value. And typically what we find is compared to, a very high-end ADC or SSL VPN product, generally we can, meet the requirements and exceed requirements, and we can do that at what generally comes in to be about half the price of some of those competing solutions. So just tremendous value overall. So that's kind of the cherry on top, that you get all these advantages and capabilities, but you also get them at a very good price. And talked a lot about, there's only so much I can cover on this webinar. I think I've left enough time for some good Q&A, but only so much I can cover here, and we really do have a lot of great resources for those that are interested and want to do a little bit more research and explore a little bit more. I would suggest to go to when you get this presentation, these are all hyperlinked, so you can click directly on them and get to these resources. But absolutely, go out and look at things like our deployment guides, like for instance Blackboard, or look at case studies with Binghamton, Norwich University article, Microsoft. We really talked a lot about that. Look at our solution briefs. Same thing with Dell SonicWall. Same thing with Nutanix. Same thing with the ABX series that we touched on. So there's a lot of great material out there that can help you do your research and do your due diligence. Okay, all that being said, if you are interested, we absolutely encourage, just to reach out to us, whether by email or by phone. You can contact me, you can contact Avi, or you can go on our website and just call us. But there's a lot of great material here for you to explore Array's educational solutions. And this always comes up as well. So it's not just the, some of the resources, some of the reading materials and things like that. It's also the product as well. So we have our download center where we have all of our different products available for free 30-day trials. and it's just as simple as coming to this web page. If you go to our website, you're going to see Try It Now and prominently on the page. Click on it. You'll come to the Download Center where you'll be able to very easily get your hand on our technology and be able to kind of familiarize yourself with it and see if you think it might be a good fit for your organization. So with that, we are done with the bulk of the webinar, and so I'm going to take a quick look here. And so I would encourage, we have some questions already coming in here, but while we're answering some of these questions, go ahead and take that time to enter in any questions that you might have. So we'll go ahead and get started with this and hopefully get through all of them here. Let's see here. Do you have any technical guides on deploying your products with specific applications like the Blackboard or PeopleSoft?
Yes, we have technical guides both on Blackboard and PeopleSoft. They are available in our resource center. And if you need any updates on any special features of Blackboard modules or the PeopleSoft, we're more than happy to discuss. We are a partner to both PeopleSoft and the online community for Blackboard to get more information from that.
We're currently using open source load balancers. Can you comment on why we should consider your product as a replacement?
That's a great question. So yes, a lot of education, they start with free software available on the internet, but when they scale up with more applications, more SSL, more security features, they find that the open SSL or the open functions were good to start with, but to maintain them and to keep them working is actually another bigger discussion that needs to be simplified, as they have a roadmap of maintaining more application and not just a load balancer. So when you buy solutions like array load balancers, you configure them and you just keep them running unless you need to upgrade maybe for some specific feature, functions that you need. But within software option, you're looking into some kind of scalability concerns as you grow, some kind of configuration concerns. They're not patched well, there are some security issues, you're waiting for them to patch. All those concerns that you have on open software can be easily taken care of by the solution from an expert. Having said that, we don't feel that the open source load balancers are bad, good, or not good. It just depends on where you stand with your current usage and how you want to improve them, because at the end of the day, you want to have your solutions work faster, more secure, and if you can have something that can work better and you have the amount and the time to spend on it, it's up to you.
Can you tell me more about the AVX virtualized appliance and how it might be set up, though, specifically, perhaps with different networking and security functions within an education environment?
That's a great question. So AVX is solving the multi-tenant independent instances that we need in education. For example, you have a need of global server load balancing, you have a need of load balancing application in the external DMZ, then you have a load balancer required for internal DMZ. You might have different projects, different team working, and you want to isolate the usage of the solution in terms of networking, configuration, and providing a guaranteed performance for each instances. This is where AVX, with its guaranteed performance per instance, has been able to provide all those different overlays and underlays for outside, for inside, for internal to external, and that has helped reduce the complexity of having multiple appliances, multiple instances, but actually you can have one single hardware, multiple instances, have a guaranteed performance for all different layers of networking required, both inside to outside and outside to inside.
Let's take a quick look here. Can I load balance multiple applications with one load balancer, or would I need that virtualized appliance?
That's a great question. So basically, it all depends on how you want to use a load balancer. We have customers having multiple applications load balancer from the same instance of load balancing, because generally you have an internal DMZ and where you have, or the external DMZ where you have the set of application that you load balance. Now, having said that, if you want to isolate each instance for a specific application, provide guaranteed performance, maybe because there are different different units of schools that have their own applications, and You want to ensure that each of them have their own administration of the system. In those scenarios, AVX or the virtual instance could be a great option because it gives you not just the guaranteed performance, but also the ability to isolate the management layer, which is important for each IT team who have different applications and different look and view and the different network in the data centers.
So, question here. So I've used F5 in the past and currently use F5. Can Array compete on feature-to-feature comparison to the F5?
Yes, so that's a very good question. So basically, if you look into the education stream, what do we have there? We have some applications we need to do. Most of the time that we look into is secure access, single sign-on, captive portals, role and role resources-based applications access, and on the other side is the load balancing SSL security. So if you look into the solution that we have, we're not talking just about the APV, but if we combine with the access gateway, it gives a lot of I would say a lot of different scenarios that can be bring into those kind with the other network. So if we're talking about comparison with that, I think we have been able to do that. If you look into some of the case studies that we had tough competition for F5. I think the reason we were in because first of all it's more simpler to use it, easy to maintain, and you get all those 99% of the things that you're looking for your things. Yes. Does the array has the support and the roadmap to actually have more things coming up? Yes. So I think with not just because we are a good solution, but also we have a strong roadmap and our solution are there with the access gateway. We bring a lot of automations in the setup. If you're looking into OpenStack environment, VMware, or Microsoft, we have the management platform integrations to give you that automation that required. So basically, comparing with F5 is not a big deal.
A couple quick housekeeping questions here. Will today's presentation or recording be made available? Yeah, generally I'll follow up to the webinar within a couple hours of the webinar and provide a PDF copy of the presentation here to everybody that's either registered or attended the webinar in case somebody you need to share with somebody else on your team or perhaps needed to have a discussion with management or things of that nature. So we provide that pretty quickly. The recording of the webinar generally takes us about 3 days to kind of edit and process it, get it ready, get it uploaded, and to post to our YouTube channel, which we call Array TV. And I send out a notification on that, so you can kind of look at that probably within the next, maybe by midweek next week. But I encourage everybody to go to Array TV on YouTube anyhow, because there's a ton of great, other webinars out there, other great information out there. But yes, it'll be made available. Option to evaluate, touched on that a little bit already, perhaps the virtual appliance. So the download center that I mentioned already, go to our website, click on the how to try or try it now button, go to that download center and you can get your hands on that free trial software virtual editions of our product. And lastly here, just a quick question about direct versus channel partner and working with my channel partner. We do have a pretty robust distribution and channel partner network, so it is available through the channel. If you have a particular partner that you prefer to work with, we have been able to work with new partners or to work with your preferred partner through our distribution arm in the past, so it should not be a problem. But I can see who asked that question, and I'll follow up individually with some additional information regarding geography and things of that nature to see with respect to buying through the channel. So I'm going to do a quick check here just to see. I think we've fielded everything. And quick last look. So that is all the questions that I can see. So I think we've answered everything, and pretty good timing there. We're coming up right against the hour, so I think we've made good use of our time. So I'll be following up with everybody. Of course, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to Array Networks, and we'll try to help you as best you can. So with that, we'll conclude today's webinar on app delivery for education, and I thank everybody for joining us today. Thank you.